Hi, I'm Colleen Odegaard. Welcome to Youth Vaping and Prevention, brought to you by Catch My Breath, the CVS Health Foundation, and Discovery Education. Catch My Breath is a youth e-cigarette and vaping prevention program focused on grades 5 through 12. In this video, you'll learn what schools and parents should know about the dangers of vaping and how to promote a vape-free lifestyle to the kids in your life. I'm the proud mother of a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old, so I care about this wholeheartedly. Let's dive right in. First, let's learn some of the lingo. E-cigarette is simply short for electronic cigarette, an electronic device that vaporizes flavored liquids. These liquids are often referred to as e-juices or e-liquids. E-cigarettes don't always look the same. In fact, they come in multitudes of shapes and sizes. All have a power source, usually a lithium-ion battery, an atomizer that heats up the liquid, and a tank where the e-liquid goes. Heating up this liquid creates the vapor. Some e-cigarettes contain enough toxic chemicals to qualify as hazardous waste. Broken devices can leak heavy metals, including mercury, lead, bromine, battery acid, and nicotine into the local environment, affecting humans and other organisms. This brings us to vaping. Vaping is a slang term for using an e-cigarette. It's a term that's meant to make e-cigarette use sound less harmful than it really is. The word vapor makes most people think of water vapor, but that's not what's being inhaled. E-cigarettes actually produce what is considered an aerosol that consists of liquid particles and gaseous chemicals containing various amounts of toxins linked to cancer, respiratory disease, heart disease, and most recently, a mysterious and deadly lung disease. More often than not, the e-juice in e-cigarettes includes nicotine and flavoring chemicals. These flavors are used to mask the taste of the chemicals and to make it more attractive to teenagers. The flavors get young people to try e-cigarettes. The nicotine gets young people hooked. Nicotine is an extremely addictive, toxic, colorless, or yellowish oily liquid that is the chief active component of tobacco. It acts as a stimulant in small doses, but in larger amounts blocks the action of nerve and muscle cells. Nicotine is also used in insecticides. Using nicotine in adolescence can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. Each time a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections or synapses are built between brain cells. Young people's brains build synapses faster than adult brains. Nicotine changes the way these synapses are formed, interfering with the brain's sensitive pleasure and rewards feedback loop. Because of this, nicotine in adolescence may also increase risk for future addiction to other drugs. Over the years, e-cigarettes have evolved. They come in several different forms: disposables, rechargeable, tanks, and refillable. First generation, disposables. These e-cigarettes often resemble the shape and look of traditional cigarettes and are intended to be used until the liquid runs out, at which point they're to be discarded. Second generation, vape pens. These are larger, pen-shaped looking devices that can be recharged. Third generation, tanks. Tanks are large e-cigarettes with a rechargeable battery and a large refillable cartridge. These are also called mods because you can break them open and modify some of the parts. These are also the devices that you can see in national vaping competitions. Fourth generation, e-cigarettes. They have a sleek, high-tech design and easily rechargeable batteries. Most popular in this category is the Juul. Juul uses small disposable pods that contain the e-liquid and is then inserted into the larger Juul device. A Juul device could easily be confused for a USB drive, and they can even be charged in laptops or computers. Juul products became so popular that they spawned their own terminology, which is important, as students who use a Juul might not consider themselves as vaping or using an e-cigarette, but as Juuling. Juuling is the slang term that is only associated with Juul. In some schools, students even refer to bathrooms as Juul lounges or Juul spas. Other copycat products, including Soren Drop, My Blue, and Smoke Nordkit, follow Juul's high-tech design and high nicotine delivery through nicotine salt e-liquid variations. Fifth generation, a new sleek design of disposable e-cigarettes. They're on the rise in popularity. They come in many flavors and often have a high nicotine concentration. In January 2020, an executive order banned flavored, pre-filled pods except menthol and tobacco flavors. The FDA also finalized an enforcement policy to punish any retailers caught selling unauthorized flavors of cartridge-based e-cigarettes. While this limited flavor ban is a significant step forward, it's important to note that at this time, the new restrictions only apply to closed pre-filled pods like Juul cartridges. This has led to a rise in popularity of e-liquids and fifth-generation disposables like Puff Bars, Blue, and Posh. Disposables are e-cigarette devices that cannot be reused once the e-liquid has run dry. At this time, disposable brands still come in many flavors and are widely available on the market. In 2018, the Surgeon General warned that youth vaping was an epidemic, saying we must take action now to protect the nation's young people. His announcement came after the release of the 2018 National Youth Tobacco Survey results that showed a dramatic increase in youth e-cigarette use rates for both middle school and high school students from 2017 to 2018. That year, usage of e-cigarettes by middle school students leapt by 48%, while high school usage jumped by a staggering 78%. From 2017 to 2019, youth e-cigarette use rose by 135% for high school students and 218% for middle school students. This means that more than 5 million middle and high school students reported using e-cigarettes in 2019. The story has shifted slightly in 2020, potentially due in part to the coronavirus pandemic. Overall use among youth decreased, with 19.6% of high school students, that's 1 in 5, and 4.7% of middle school students, or 1 in 20, reporting current e-cigarette use. While it's nice to see that youth usage went down for the first time ever, there were still more than 3.5 million middle and high school students who vaped in 2020, despite a pandemic that dramatically reduced kids' social interactions. We'll have to wait until 2021 to see if the reduction was a trend in the right direction thanks to prevention efforts or a COVID-related blip. Among current e-cigarette users, 38.9% of high school students and 20% of middle school students reported using e-cigarettes on 20 or more of the past 30 days. Even more shocking is the 22.5% of high school users and 9.4% of middle school users reported daily use. Moreover, a study by the University of Pittsburgh found that young people who use e-cigarettes are 6.8 times more likely to begin smoking cigarettes within 18 months than their peers who do not vape. So why has there been a rapid and dramatic increase in youth e-cigarette use? One factor is the lack of knowledge youth have about e-cigarettes. Other major contributors are curiosity about flavors and pervasive marketing and advertising. According to the 2019 National Youth Tobacco Survey, 7 in 10 kids are regularly exposed to e-cigarette advertisements. Youth are exposed via retail stores, online, social media, TV, streaming services or movies, and newspapers or magazines. It's important to teach kids to recognize e-cigarette ads, which can be stealthy and subtle in social media, so they can understand when they're being sold something. Think about your social media use or your children's use. We can control who we follow and, to an extent, who follows us, but we can't control the advertising that pops up. We also need to think about the influencers and celebrities who might use these products and post about them. Researchers found, and numerous lawsuits discovered, that in their early marketing campaigns, Juul used tactics that have been shown to attract young audiences, crafting their brand and advertising around strategies that were appealing to teenagers. One major difference that set Juul apart from other companies was their strong social media presence, utilizing hashtags and peer-to-peer promotion through activities like Juul Challenges, which were stunts or activities devised by social media influencers that encouraged people to take and post pictures or videos of themselves doing various things with their Juul devices. These kinds of guerrilla social media tactics, utilized by many e-cigarette brands, create the illusion of grassroots, genuine enthusiasm and activity, but are actually meticulously coordinated and strategic marketing campaigns. Simply put, sophisticated marketing and enticing flavors get kids to try vaping, and the high levels of nicotine in these products is what keeps them vaping. Once they start, many find it difficult to stop. There are more than 8,000 different flavors of e-juice. The use of flavors to mask the harshness of tobacco is a seductive and deceptive marketing technique that has been used by the tobacco industry for decades, including products like menthol cigarettes or fruit-flavored cigars. But e-cigarette vapor lacks the harsh burn of traditional cigarettes or cigars, making the first puff that much friendlier on the palate and thus easier for kids to take up the habit. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, 81% of kids who ever used tobacco products started with a flavored product. On the 2020 National Youth Tobacco Survey, 82.9% of current e-cigarette users reported using a flavored tobacco product. Many youth think that when they vape these sweet or fruity flavors, they aren't consuming nicotine. Yet 99% of e-cigarettes sold in U.S. convenience stores, supermarkets, and similar outlets in 2015 contained nicotine. Beyond nicotine, any substance that can be transformed into a liquid can be used in an e-cigarette, including other narcotics like marijuana. It's important to note that until recently, Juul was the leader in the vaping market with incredibly high nicotine concentration at 5% in one pod. Now other e-cigarette brands are following suit, including many disposable e-cigarettes that come in many flavors and at this time are not part of the flavor ban. So what does this mean? The amount of nicotine in a single Juul pod and some disposables is equal to the amount of nicotine found in an entire pack of cigarettes and includes the same number of puffs, 200. Some kids are developing nicotine habits equivalent to 2 pack-a-day smokers. This was not the norm for e-cigarettes. In fact, Juuls are more than double the maximum concentration allowed in the European Union, and the sale of Juul devices has been banned in other countries because of their remarkably high nicotine content. Juul has since released some lower nicotine concentration pods, but even those still exceed the max for the EU. There is no Juul product that is nicotine-free. It's also important to note that if someone becomes addicted to nicotine and is used to a high concentration in their product, they're less likely to switch to a lower concentration product. Kids are masters of disguising vaping. There are all kinds of trendy, hand-knitted cozies, lanyards, iPhone cases, and clothing specially designed to conceal vaping devices. They may include a pocket for the device inside the shirt that connects to the drawstring, which conceals a hose leading to the e-cigarette. The accessories and add-ons make the vape seem more like a high-tech gadget than a tobacco device. The vapor produced and inhaled when using an e-cigarette is not harmless. In fact, it can often contain many harmful ingredients. While e-cigarette vapor generally contains fewer harmful chemicals than smoke from burned tobacco, it's important to keep in mind the difference between less harm and harmless. In addition, e-juice may contain cancer-causing chemicals, heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead, and almost always contains the addictive tobacco-derived compound nicotine, all of which are harmful. The nicotine concentration may vary, but labels aren't always a true indicator of what's inside e-juice. Additionally, an August 2020 study from Stanford University found that those who vape are 5 times as likely to contract COVID-19 as those who do not. To compound this, if you vape and smoke, you're 7 times as likely to contract COVID-19. So how do you talk to your child or student about vaping? Before you start the conversation, you know the facts. You've already started this process by watching this video. When you start the conversation, don't start with, "We need to talk." No one likes to hear that. Our immediate thought is, "Oh no, what did I do wrong?" Instead, bring up a recent event or news story about vaping. Ask for support from your healthcare provider and other trusted adults. Answer their questions, and if there's something you don't know, let them know that it's a good question and you'll find out the answer. This is not a one and done conversation. Keep the conversation going, as this is an ongoing emerging health crisis among our young population. You've heard a lot of alarming facts today about the vaping epidemic, but the good news is that there are many steps you can take to reduce the number of young e-cigarette users. Prevention is the strongest tool we have for empowering youth to stop the epidemic. Write an email or call the principal at your child's school and ask for vaping to be added to the tobacco and alcohol section of the school code of conduct. You may also want to recommend implementation of the Catch My Breath program. Don't be afraid to talk to other parents. This could be when you drop your kids off, when you're having lunch with a friend, or run into a neighbor on a walk. You don't have to be an expert in e-cigarettes to open the conversation. Start by asking if they've heard about e-cigarettes or had any experience with e-cigarettes. Finally, e-cigarette policy is still evolving. While Tobacco 21 and the limited flavor ban are positive steps, there's still plenty of work to be done. Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and PAVE, Parents Against Vaping E-Cigarettes, can keep you up to date with information on legislation being considered at the local, state, and federal levels and provide opportunities for you to take action. Catch My Breath is an evidence-based nicotine vaping prevention program developed by the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston School of Public Health and has been proven effective at reducing the likelihood that students will experiment with vaping. Catch My Breath gives students a wide range of skills and tools to help them respond to any number of real-world scenarios. Catch My Breath is available for elementary, middle, and high schools and has been adopted in all 50 states. The Catch My Breath program is free to schools across the nation thanks to our partners at CVS Health. The partnership with Catch My Breath and Discovery Education was made possible thanks to funding from the CVS Health Foundation. For more information, go to catchmybreath.org.